That way the people can see what's going on. And for the people out there, while we're getting things going here, I'm going to tell them over on the right-hand side to tell a little bird, post to your Facebook friends so they know where you're at, and let them know what's going on, because it's going to be an interesting show today. And then if you have a question, /Q, a space, and then type your question, and we'll see it in the question box on the left. It'll show up a Q by your name that you asked the question. And if you forget that, in the send a message box, there's a slash bar there. If you click on that, it'll bring up a menu and it'll have /Q there. You can just type on, click on that, and it'll put it in there, and we can get your question. Okay, Stan, I'm done.
You're throwing it at me, and I'm trying to get Michael. If you want to go ahead and do the introduction about the first portion of Blab and stuff like that, that would be great. I'm actually not even looking at the Blab this right.
Are you talking to Michael or to me?
I'm talking to you, and I'm sending him the email. You know, there's a problem with Google Apps email. Sometimes it's extremely slow and it won't pull up his address. So I'm going to send it. That looks like Scott up there, though. That was good.
Do you want me to take it down to, I'm not looking at it yet, but do you want me to take it down to the part where we
go over the rules?
Go over the rules. Okay, I'll end with, you want me to read the rules or stop before I get there?
Go ahead and read the rules too.
Okay.
Yes. Any help at all possible.
Oh man, come on, you know how to do this.
Okay, folks, we're going to get started here. It seems like we're the Circadians, and we approximately 25 minutes on how to use Blab. No Blabbus Interruptus. As you can see, the seats are full, so you can't get in right now, but we will open them up and let you in later, I think. The Circadians is a community. It isn't built around one individual. We live, work, and thrive in a guru-free zone. Everyone is equal, everyone matters, and everyone has their own special gift. The sum of those gifts being greater than any one individual. What we do is we create event-driven, outcome-oriented business-building platforms, broadcasts, websites, content, training programs, and more. But mostly we operate in a guru-free zone, getting stuff done. We welcome the opportunity to elaborate on that. Just ask for an invitation to our community today by emailing youmatter@thecircadians.com. Part of our manifesto is we have what we call the Circadians Way. I'm not going to read them all, but I'm going to read the one that I like the most, and that is never accept mediocrity as a benchmark. Let's get started with the rules of Blab. Blab really doesn't have any rules, but the Blab team has created some agreements or guidelines they'd like the community to go by. So please pay attention. Respect each other. Honor the viewer's time. Let others talk. Don't be an awful person to be around. Argue the point, not the person. The host sets the rules to the party unless they conflict with these rules. The first three kind of go together. And with the respect the viewers, the honor the viewers' time, and let others talk. If you're invited in to a seat, what we would like you to do is stay on the topic, ask your question or make your comment, take a minute or so, and then let somebody else get in that would like to get in. Argue the point, not the person. It's all right to disagree with somebody. If you don't like what their view is, you can state that and say, okay, I disagree with you. Here's my point of view and why I feel this way. But what you don't want to say is, you know what? I disagree with you, and you don't agree with anything I say, and I think you're an idiot or a jerk because you don't do that. That's not the way to get attention. It's not the way to make your point, because personally, I wouldn't listen to you if you acted like that. So argue the point, not the person. Don't make it personal. Okay, Stan, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Yeah, don't kid yourself. He's going to say that to you anyway. It's just the way he rolls.
I'm going to get out of here, or
No,
Do
you
you
can
need
you can
me?
hang you can hang out,
Oh,
man.
okay.
We got 4 seats. There's 4 of us, so it looks like Hollywood Squares, kind of. I mean, that way you can pop in and answer if you need to.
Yeah,
Michael,
well, I'm the comedian in the corner that everybody makes fun of, like Charlie Weaver or something. So it's
You're doing great, Rob.
Yeah, he's doing great. You're gonna tell us when you tell a joke, though, right?
Because we are warmed up.
Yeah. I didn't catch any of them. So, so I sent you an email, Chef Michael.
Yes, sir.
Yep. And that third page is kind of what we do on this section here. We're going to talk about how to use Blab, the basic stuff. We don't get out. We don't get into, all of the things, the really detailed stuff about it. We just get into how to use it on the basic, the viewpoint. And all we do, Mike, is we go down the left-hand side and the right-hand side. And then Chef is going to show us and tell us how he sets up how he actually uses Blab in his business. And that's it, really. So, you can roll on, man. This is easy stuff. If you want to I've got a checklist. If you just want to do it in whatever order that you want to, that's fine. I'll just use the checklist and go through that checklist, because I know how you chefs. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Oh, yes, you did.
right.
I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to say it out loud. So you guys can take it over from here if you want to. Just like I said, go on the left-hand column, and then we go down the right-hand column and talk about the map, and then we talk about how to send messages back and forth. And if you miss something, we'll let you know.
Okay, sounds great. All right, the very first thing that I have on this list is getting started. And I would have to say conduct. If you have morals and ethics and values, I as well as other people would probably appreciate your attention in a more polite manner as far as interactions with people, because you really don't know who's on the other end of the keyboard. And after interacting with people, you really want to try to develop some sort of morals and values and quality, as far as instead of insults and things like that. I've ran into a few myself that I currently don't have anything to do with, but that's something you don't really have to get all consumed about. The next thing in the left side, there's tell a little bird. And when you tell a little bird, that will create a tweet. A tweet will go out. Currently, I have to type all my tweets in with the header of all the blabs that I'm involved with. Does everybody here have to do the same?
Yeah, they changed that. You're talking about when you create the GIF over there?
Yes.
Yeah, they changed that last week. It still creates the week, but you can add. Fortunately, there's a little thing where you can add the link, but it means that you can put your own message in there. Like I'm going to put in here and say, "Come see some professional chefs talk about Blab."
Oh, okay. I understand. Yeah. I noticed that changed last week, but I didn't really do a lot of follow up on it. So basically, I just usually put the topic that's already put into the blab itself and distribute it that way. Now, like Stan said, if you want to modify it or change it to whatever you want, try to be polite about it, unless they're putting on a blab that says, come here and drink and be crazy. If that's what you want to share with people, that's fine, but also expect that that's the kind of quality that you're going to attract. Number 4, ask a question using the / command. And that would be in your bottom right corner in your comments section, where it looks like a little / is, where if you click on the send message part and hit the / that will bring up a list of put a Q for a question, a topic for a topic, to change the topic. That's if you're a host or a guest, I believe. Shrug is a symbol for a clown face. I guess that's a way of talking with each other. Notify your followers as a host, or a table flip, or a light mode. You can change your comment stream from white to black with light mode or dark mode. And that's pretty much the list I have, unless there's more that I'm not aware of. We used to be able to make it snow, but that's not happening anymore. So, all right, we'll move on to the next step. Okay, put a cue. Pin a question. Now, all right, if you want to ask a question and you want to have it pinned, when you go over to ask a question, you /, is it a capital Q you have to put, or any Q? You're muted, Ron.
Any Q should work.
Okay.
Lowercase or uppercase.
Lowercase or uppercase. All right. Put a Q in, and then start and put a space after your Q, and that will incite yourself into asking a question that should be posted on the left-hand column and accordingly to the questions asked and times. I think they're all posted as a time differentials of where your questions are asked. Okay, let's see, right column, map area. You have a quality map of the world on the right where you can see where people are located. Top right. And if you click on that map, you can move that map around. You drag the map itself. I usually put my arrow on the right side and move it to the left to go around the world and see where the viewers and participants are. Now, I don't know if somebody else has a different way of doing that, but you can go up, down, right, left, anywhere you want. Your host will be in a green dot, and your comment streams or people participating will be in the purple dots. And most of us are here in the United States. I see we got somebody over, I think, in England. Oh, that would be Nina, wouldn't it? Okay.
In Bulgaria? She's actually in Bulgaria, but
Bulgaria is on the other side. Mm-hmm. We have somebody somewhere around England. But okay. And then next would be the two columns, all comments mentioned column. And that's where I explain, I believe, the questions. Now, unless I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, actually, what we're talking about is when you roll over the little star and the reply, and then if you're a host, you have the little X to close it out there.
Okay.
To delete something.
So that's for running a blab. That's not necessarily for being a viewer.
Well, the X is for running a blab, but for the stars and the reply, that's available to anybody. Like if you roll over Nina Trankova, and you'll see a star there from Dennis on the very bottom. If I click that, it puts the number 2 up there, and now there's 3 people that have starred it. And then just to the right of that is the little arrow. If you click in that arrow, it automatically puts the name of the person that made that comment in there, so you don't have to look it up. Okay. And then you have the red X if you're a host, which will be tomorrow. We'll talk about hosting. But if you're a host, you have a red X there, so you can delete that comment.
Gotcha. Thank you, Stan. All right. How to give props, I see. Or center column. Which one would you like me to go over first?
The center column, that is the center column, because it has that's where you put the props in there.
Okay. Well, props are something that you can give. It's almost like a Periscope app where you're giving, they do hearts on Periscope, or Meerkat does hearts too, I believe. But basically either you agree, or you're condoning what someone says, or you're obliging to what their topic is, or you're basically giving a one-up. And one-up is a very cool quality, or a very cool tool to have. It lets you know people appreciate your opinion and their opinion and what you're coinciding with on thoughts and particular subject matter. And That's always, we appreciate props. Anybody being involved with anything that has to do with props, we really appreciate that. I do myself. Okay, next part. Let's see. See. Let me know if I miss anything, because I'm going through this randomly. Looking at
You're doing fine, man. You're doing fine. Just do it just like you're doing. Just go over the stuff that you know about. And I've got some notes here that we might get back to.
If you want to start following people, I don't know if I'm going to cover a couple more than one with this, but if you take your mouse, your arrow, and go to the top of the screen, to make a long story short, you put your arrow over top of their picture and their profile will show up. It's a profile page. And like, okay, I'm on Peter Wright right now. Adversity coach, spoken and written word artist, survived Zimbabwe. Okay, so that would be an introduction into Peter's felicity or status and what Peter's about. And if you take your arrow while the profile is still up, you can move your arrow down to the follow button or the follow tab. And I see that Peter's already following me, and I click on the follow, which puts a check mark and a purple, turns the square purple, which means now I am following Peter. Now, that's a quick and easy way. Now, if you want to, you can also go to somebody's in the square that's already adjacent to what we're doing on this screen, and you click on their square with their header of their name. It'll also give you the same information, but it'll make the rest of the screen a little darker, which keeps the presentation focused on the presentation, but brings up and highlights that person's profile. And I'll follow Stan, like I just clicked on Stan's profile or Stan's square, and I'll follow him again. Now, if you want to unfollow somebody, you can go to where I just said, click on their header and click on the purple following, and immediately you'll be unfollowing. Now, if you want to go to somebody's profile and you're in the middle of like 3 or 4 different things, you can go to the top or the bottom, the same place like I just told you, and click on their name, their header name. If you click on their header name, it should open another tab that will take you to their Blab profile. And then you can go through what Blabs they've been involved in. You can see their replays. You can see what they have scheduled for the future. You can pretty much go over the 1-4 and see everything in detail about what that person's done or participated in Blab. And if you think twice about it, if you click on the bird on their profile, that will take you to their Twitter account. Once you're on their Twitter account, you can see their followers and what they got going on with Twitter. Now, your Twitter account and your Blab account should be connected. That's how mine are. And if you want to access their Twitter account or follow them on Twitter, you can do that from their Twitter profile. Okay, so I think I got that one covered. Let's go to the next question. Let me know if I'm going too slow. All right. Let's see. What do the eyeballs mean? Go ahead and explain that one for me, Stan.
Up on the top, you'll see those numbers. There's there's the 43 and then the little eyeball right there. If you click on the little eyeball, it brings up all the 43 total viewers. 16 people are watching live now. And over on the far right-hand side, the +2 means that there's 2 people that are watching us from the web who aren't logged in into their Twitter account or into Blab. Right.
Thank you, Stan. And like he said, like we have 44 that have tuned into this. They may not be currently watching, but they have came here and checked it out. And right now, currently, we have 16. And if you click on that eyeball, that'll bring you up all 16 of their profiles and let you know who all's currently watching. And if you click it again, it'll take that away. Now the next part, let's see. How to view the profiles. I think I did that on Blab. The host can block a user. Now, I'm not aware of this function because I'm usually not a host. If you guys want to follow through with that, that's okay. I'll go to, let's see. I've almost covered everything.
Yeah, you got like most of it. If you've the follow them, the way to block a user, if you're a host, and it'll be covered tomorrow, is if you I just made Chef Michael a co-host. But if you click on like Ron's name, don't do that. You can, if you click on Ron's name, Michael. Now I'm going to pick on him because it's easy. But there's over on the left hand side is the red X to take him to remove him as a co-host. I might do that. And then the over on the right hand side, on the other side of that picture, that what we call, most of the time we call this a profile, but in his case we'll call it a mug shot. Over on the right hand side of that is a little triangle, which is that if you do that, you're gonna kick him out of the Blab. It doesn't do it for all of Blab. It just does it for this one for one thing.
Right.
And that's what that's talking about. How you can block a user
during the current Blab. Right. Okay. Thank you.
That's my glamour photo, Stan. Don't mock it.
Well, I hope it was a cheap glamour photo. I mean, I'm hoping I noticed you used a professional glamour. It's anyway.
I spend as much on that as I do on my graphics department.
Yeah, I spend as much on it as I do on my sheets that hang behind me here. I need to actually just take those down. But I think you've covered everything with the exception of, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ron. I think he's covered everything except for the things in their bios. Like, let's take. I was noticing somebody up there a while ago. I'm going to go back to Peter Wright. Is that when I click on Peter Wright, if I look at in order to really find out anything about him, I would have to click on the bird. Or the Twitter account. I'd have to go over to the Twitter account, and I would look and see that he's at peterwrightsblog.com in order to find out a little bit more about him. Survived Zimbabwe. He's in Ontario. That's good. However, if Peter clicks on his, if he goes to, clicks on his profile, on his name, and then he clicks on his name again, it will take you to the profile page. And you can do that while you're in a Blab without it kicking you out. And on that profile page, you're going to see up on the top right-hand side, you're going to see an image. And on that image, you're going to get a little, let me see, click on settings. And if you click on the settings,
Stan clicked on the wrong button.
I'll tell you, I get notifications constantly, and I got to always try to get around them to get to my settings. I mean, they're constant on me.
Yeah, I'm not going to click on that because somehow Stan just got booted out of that. But if you click on the setting,
I just wanted to tell you what not to do.
He likes to talk, so I don't want to hold him back from what he's got prepared, which is probably nothing. But go ahead, Stan.
Like I said, I did that to show you what not to do.
It was a test.
It was a test, and you passed it with flying colors. If you click on the settings, that's okay. But under those settings, you're going to see. I'm going to have to do this from memory. If the only reason I closed it out was because there was an echo. If you get an echo, sometimes that means you got two browser windows open. That's a good tip for in the future. But the settings up there have, you've got your name and you've got, which you can change. It does not have to match your Twitter account. And then right below that is your email address. Don't mess with the email address. Below that is the bio. So Peter, if you put your, the address to your website in that bio, they don't have to go anywhere else to get to your blog from there. So they can learn a little bit about you while they're right there without having to, chase down the bird, then go to the other thing. And it works pretty good that way. But I think that's it. I think that's it. Unless you've got there was one thing that I remember what you promised when you said that you were going to come on the show. You promised that you were going to give the recipe to Kentucky Fried Chicken, that secret super recipe on Kentucky Fried Chicken. Did I misunderstand you?
He must be talking to you, Dennis.
I don't think so.
No, I don't think anybody knows that but the Cardinal. But I think that's it. I think now we're going to do something with you want to introduce the second portion of this thing here, Michael?
Sure do. Please welcome my inspiration to be online and build my social awareness. The #1 chef that I've come across, I followed him over here from Google Plus, and I really appreciate you guys welcoming Chef Dennis Littley.
Thank you. Thanks, Michael. And it was nice to finally get to talk to you live. We did earlier, but that's something we hadn't done yet. So that was a very nice treat this morning. And I'm happy to be here, and I am a circadian, and I don't need a 7-step program to work that out. It's good. But I do blabs kind of differently than some folk, only because it's how I did Google Hangouts. It's not rocket science. It's something that I developed while I was on Google to do a 2-camera setup. And I came over here, and it really has worked well, especially with the 4 screens, because it really is a nice way to show yourself, show what you're doing, and get people's attention by them being able to see you. Because a lot of times, if you just show what you're doing, people lose that connection. They need to see your face for, and mannerisms that you might be doing. Like if I'm making something, I'm like, oh, well, I'm making this, and I'm not happy about it, or I'm bored about it. Why would I expect you to get excited? So if I'm enjoying what I'm doing and I'm talking to you and you can see my expressions while you're also seeing what I'm cooking or what I'm doing, I think it makes for a more interactive show. And if any of you have questions about how I do that, I am set up for a show today with the absence of food, because that is the hard part. And generally the prep work that you see, I don't have one of those magic kitchens where everybody just hands me things and everything's prepared for me. I have to actually do it myself. And one of the things I started doing different when I started doing blabs was when I was doing Google Plus shows or YouTube, I would have everything prepped and ready to go so I could bam, 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 and just get it done. On Blab, I've been showing more of what I've been prepping as I do it. Like I'll cut the vegetables here. I'll prepare, I'll debone the chicken. So I'm trying to add more value to what I'm doing when I'm actually presenting the show too, because things that Michael and I would take for granted, people in home who don't have the day-to-day experience with food that we do might think it's like the heavens opening up, and it's a miracle that we've just told them something. So I try to do that more often and let people know what you can do, save time to make your experience better in the kitchen. It's not just about the recipe, but it's about the time in the kitchen. And when you're more at ease and you're happier in the kitchen, it's easier to spend more time there and have more fun there and get interactive with your friends, with your family, and people coming over. So that's what I try to do in my blab. Now, I have it set up, so I'm going to, and I actually added a 3rd camera today. I don't have the other ones on, so I could show you how my normal setup is. So as you see me here, normally I would be standing. So I'm going to pick this up, and I have this on a small little camera tripod. Now I'm going to show you how I have set up. Now here is the one camera that is overhead. It's on a tripod. These angles right there we go. And that is over, and that is my second laptop that runs into. And that'll be my second Twitter account, which is Ask Chef Dennis Productions, which Google forced me to make when they flagged my account that someone had hacked. And then over here, directly under that camera, is my induction cooker. And you can find these induction cookers on Amazon, and they are only about $80 to $100. When we first started, Michael, I don't know if you remember, but they were like $2,000 to get an induction cooker. It was insane. So I have that set up. And then over here to my main camera, which is right there, and generally I'm standing, so I have it at eye height. And in order to make me look more at the camera, like today you guys see me and I'm looking up, I felt like I had a military pose today because I was at attention. You can't see me doing that, but I was doing it. But here I have it, and I used to have a box that I had it sitting on, and then one day the press came over, and I went, the box isn't going to look too cool, so I'm hot out. I'm a chef. I'm going to raise it up on a stock pot.
Perfect.
Tools of the trade.
Yeah.
So it's in the kitchen. So I figured, what the hell? It's easier for me to get. So I've been using the stock pot ever since that, and I've never had to go back and dig the cardboard box out again. And then here I have a Yeti microphone, a Blue Yeti. And one of the reasons I use the Yeti is it's directional. And one of the benefits of it being directional is that it doesn't pick up the sound behind me where my speakers on my laptop are. Mm-hmm. So that being the case, I usually don't get an echo. And Macs are generally built to be echo-free anyway, but this is just an extra insurance policy. And I don't know if you did notice, the first time I did the show, I'm doing it, and later when I watched it, I heard all these bangings on the cutting board. So what I did was, being very inventive, I got a kitchen towel, and I put it under my microphone to act as an insulator for the sound.
Absorb.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm real low tech here. You know, you may think I'm high tech. Oh, I'm not. I'm low tech, and things I figured out through trial and error. Right now, I'm running 2 Macs. For a while, when I first started, I was using 2 PCs. Then I moved over into the Mac world, and I was using a PC and a Mac for a while. So I was screwing with the universe by using 2 different components. And then I finally have gone over to just using Macs because they're easier to use in this format. I've had a lot of fails on mobile shows that I've been doing lately, so I'm changing the game up on my mobile shows, and then we're going to start showing you how to do mobile a little more proficiently. But I think I've got it figured out, so we're going to move on to that. That's what I have for my setup here, and I'm in my kitchen, so it's easy to do. I've had lots of fails when I do this, and I think that's one of the important things with doing a live show is not to be afraid to show when you fail, because people get a little bit of, they breathe a sigh of relief going, well, if the chef screwed it up, then there is hope for me. Mm-hmm. And honestly, what I've been doing lately with my recipes that I do on Wednesday show is I have never made them before. So I'm coming on cold with a recipe, and I may change it midstream when I see something's not working the way I want it to work. So sometimes there's pauses in what I'm doing because my mind's working on how would this come out better at this point. Or if it didn't quite come out the way I wanted it to, now I can make the corrections when I post it on my blog. So this is another way for you guys to get inspired when I cook. All right, I'm taking this cold, so you're taking it cold too. You know, you can work through this with me. So that's how I do blab. And that is the message that I'm bringing out, trying to get everybody into their kitchen cooking.
Well, that explains how you start off a show telling everybody you're going to do chicken wachatori, but it winds up being chicken salad. Oh, well, we got chicken salad here, you know, but just changing it up. But I got a question for you. When the tripod that you have that's hanging over your thing, was that an iPhone, or was that a phone that you had in that, or what was that, a camera? That is a Logitech C920. Okay.
And that's all I use right now, and that is just right above the induction cooker. And I also I'm real low tech in this. All right, say I've got my cutting board right next to my induction cooker, mm-hmm. and I've got a wireless mouse here that I use to control things. So I'll actually reach up here, low techie, and swing it over so it's over the cutting board, mm-hmm. and then I move it back during the show. So when I'm showing what I'm doing in the pan, or if I'm using a mixer. So I just move it over with my hand. So, you know, it's not, I don't have any electronics that do it that way. And it would probably be slower that way anyway. So I just reach up and move it over and make adjustments with my hand.
So you have 2 C920s that you run your show with then?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I have. I actually have 5 of them in the house. I have 2 in a to-go bag that whenever I do go out to do mobile, I don't have to unpack things because I don't want to. And then I have one on my desktop. So they're cheap enough. If you watch, they're on sale on Amazon sometimes for like $50, $60. At worst, they're $70, and they're pretty much the best camera for this kind of a setup. I am moving over into an iPad setup. I'm working on that for my mobile.
Staples will, by the way, match. I know there are others that will too. If you can find one online at like Amazon or whatever their price is, which is what I did, and then I went to Staples and said, I want you to price match this. You can't do it with like, Bob's Camera Shop. Not saying anything bad about Bob, but you can't do it with Bob's Camera Shop. They go, we won't price match that, but they'll price match anybody that is, they'll price match a
competitor.
Yeah, a competitor. But
Best Buy do the same thing.
Yeah.
Chef Dennis, how do you set up 2 accounts?
Well,
I'm going to bring some questions over here for you. I'm going to actually step out and I'll bring questions over for you to answer, and that way I can surprise you completely and catch you off guard, so you have no idea what's coming up next.
That's kind of like the time you pinged me and you didn't have any clothes on. You caught me completely off guard.
We weren't supposed to talk about that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh.
All right. How do you set up 2 accounts? Very simple to do. You need 2 Twitter accounts. Okay. So like I said, Google forced me to set up a second account with Chef Dennis Productions. So I use that as my second Twitter account. Now, I really don't do anything with my second Twitter account. It's basically only there as a placeholder for my second Blab account. I would advise when you make it, it could be something simple. Like if I could have done Ask Chef Dennis 2. So, but I had built that Ask Chef Dennis production company. So I figured, let me use that. So, be creative with it. One thing to remember when you are setting up accounts, try and keep them the same across all of your social media. So if it is a second account, keep it standard in any place else you might use a second account. Now, the easiest way to do this too, because it can get complicated or just aggravating when you're switching accounts, is to have, I know on my phone, I can jump back and forth between 2 pretty easy. But on the laptops, I actually have one just set up as my second account for Ask Chef Dennis, and the first one on my other laptop. I've also found that if I download, like I use Chrome for everything, if I download Firefox, I can have 2 accounts on the same computer, one logged in on Firefox, one logged in on Chrome. I haven't tested Firefox with Blab yet, but it should work if Chrome works.
I haven't even attempted to try Explorer on Blab yet.
Firefox? Yeah.
It's Explorer or Firefox, yeah.
Okay. Oh, Explorer doesn't work real well. You can watch. Yeah, you can watch sometimes, but at other times it won't even go over there. And Safari is not really a real browser, so that you can forget about that one.
Right.
Okay. On the map, what's the difference between the green and purple dots? We talked about that. And the green is the host, and the purple are the viewers. And need to record my Blab on my phone. How do we do that? If you're the only way you can record it is if you are the host. And if you are the host of a Blab on an iPhone, you should have that capability. My Android, as much as I love my Android phone, it does not work well with Blabs. We found that out the hard way, right, Ron?
Yep.
That's why I'm going to an iPad setup for mobile. As much as I'm not a big fan of iPads, you got to use what technology wants you to use. And evidently, technology wants us to use iOS.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions about how I set up or what I do? Yep. Some of the other circadians, come on in. Come on down. The price is right. You let the circadians out. Who.
I have no idea how to post those questions over in the stream.
When you're the host, all you have to do is click on it. There'll be a little thing on the top where you can just click on it. It'll pull it up, and then you just exit out to go.
Okay.
Hi, Michelle.
Hello, Ron. Hello, guys. Wow.
Hello.
Well, Michael, that was an excellent presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Chef, I love that setup. I really do. You were very creative, and it works for you. And you didn't go out and spend a ton of money.
No, and that's the big thing is, and I tell people when they're starting, the camera is a really good investment to make, only because it's going to give you a Mac. You could use your Mac and get away with it. But if you're on a PC, the camera quality is not usually as strong. So you want to, invest that $70 in a camera. If you have any thoughts of ever doing anything on, or you just want to be seen in a better picture. The other thing to remember too is we didn't talk about is bandwidth.
Right.
And bandwidth can be the enemy of lots of us. And I am hardwired in on both of the computers. And I did have a second router put in my kitchen, or right adjacent to it, so I didn't have to run cords. But I'm not opposed to running cords down the hallway, which is what I used to do in my other house. And I've even had people run them out the window of a second floor. Oh, my office is on the second floor. I said, well, fine, go get a 100-foot cord, which I normally wouldn't advise to do. Drop it out the window, bring it in the window of your kitchen, and hook it up and stop whining about it. Just do it. We can find workarounds. If you think about it, you can find workarounds for just about anything you're going to want to do. The microphone isn't, again, a necessity if you can control the sound in your kitchen or where you're doing shows. Yeah, it's great, especially when you're out, because you can kill most of the sound that's coming from the other side of the microphone. And it kind of localizes what it picks up. The microphone on the Logitech C920 is great, but it's going to pick up a lot of sound around you. And that's the only problem with it. I don't have a problem using it, except if there's people talking in the other room, it'll hear them. And then you'll have that annoying, and me as the presenter may not hear it, but you as the listener is going to hear it. So audio is almost more important than video at one point. And you can see that from Blab, because they put their emphasis mostly on audio, although the video has improved greatly over time.
So I'm a big iPhone and iPad. I've been using my iPad for my dementia support and awareness for like 4 years, and I loved it. But I just got a MacBook Pro, and I'm getting used to that now because it's a little different. It's a little different.
I love the MacBook Pro. In fact, I ruined one unintentionally, and it was my fault. And I had to suck it up and go buy a new one.
Well, they ruined mine, and they replaced it within 18 days.
Well, mine was my fault. And I'm going to try and if you send it away to Mac is like really great for support. But if you need something fixed, you better just like squeeze your cheeks really tight, because they're going to hammer you.
Well, did you get the AppleCare?
I did not.
See, I got full support now with them.
AppleCare was like $300.
It was, but it's worth it with all the difficulties with the different platform.
I've never had, in all my years of owning computers, this is the first computer I've ever ruined or dropped or broke or anything. So I was on the side of percentages when I didn't do it. And I didn't get it for this one because, again, it was my own fault. It was stupid. I shouldn't have done it. I put my cup of coffee on top of my MacBook, and I was sick, and I knocked it over. So, but
I had trouble with Google Drive on the Mac.
Really?
Drive. I had a nightmare, and Apple couldn't fix it. They sent me to Google, and between the two of them, they screwed the thing up so bad that they gave me a brand new computer in less than 2 weeks.
Wow.
Now, I just downloaded it to my menu bar on the bottom drive. So I don't even have to go to my account when I want to open it up. It just pops right up.
Well, we have a shared drive in the Circadian, so that was a little complicated. Yeah. So I had to download Drive for Mac.
But are you using Chrome on Mac?
I'm using Chrome on Mac.
Okay. Yeah. Because I've never had, the only problem I have is when I have two email accounts that I use. Well, Google made me come up with, use my last name. I had already had Ask Chef Dennis, but I couldn't be Chef Dennis. So I had to do Dennis Litley. And so from that, I had two accounts. I don't ever really use that email account, but that's what I sign in on Google with for everything else. So if I'm signed in on the Ask Chef Dennis account, I have to sign out of that sometimes and sign into the other one. It's a pain in the ass. mostly just to get to drive. That's the big thing.
It is. It's a pain, but all right. Well, I'm gonna let some other guys jump in here from the Circadians. So
good to see you. Thanks for stopping.
Thank you, guys. Great presentation.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Michael. I always see you on all the time. Well, in the chats and everything, but it's nice to meet you.
I lurk. I do a lot of lurking.
All right, Ron. I'll see you later. Thanks, Chef.
Okay.
Both chefs. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. Hey, Tony, do you want to step in here and say hello? Oh, yeah, there he is.
Again, gentlemen, thank you.
Hey, Tony.
Michael, good job, man. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you, Tony.
Chef Dennis, as always, I was curious about how you were doing your setup. So this was really good for me to see. And I've been on Blab for quite a while. While this avatar, I had, 2 accounts too. And so this is my second account. And my old account, I was trying to do the screen sharing. And I ended up having to restore my Mac every time I tried to use an application.
Well, let me show you an easy way to screen share. If I was just using this, because my co-host Susan Sarah figured this out all on her own, and she has her computer up, so she just takes her microphone when she wants to, or her camera when she wants to screen share, and she just puts it on her computer. So that's how she has gotten over screen sharing. She does it a little better. She has it right on because she'll do a presentation on kitchen stuff. And when she does it, she needs to show her computer screen. So until they come up with a workaround, she just turns her camera around and points it right at the computer.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. I do a show on Meerkat also, and I actually Meerkat with my phone, but I share information through the computer.
Very cool.
So thank you so much. Good stuff. I'm glad I was able to watch this today. And I too am a circadian. And I just very briefly, I'm a type 2 diabetic who has had diabetes over 17 years. And I am now using Ketopia and a ketogenic diet. And I have been off my 3 different diabetic medications for now 107 days.
Congratulations.
Thank you, gentlemen. And losing weight and feeling good and just excited. So I'm just glad that I could come on and become a circadian. And so I'm happy to be a circadian. Thank you so much, Chef Dennis, for sharing not just this show, but all of the shows that you've been doing. And I've been following you and enjoying some of the recipes, vegetarian, you name it. I've been trying to follow you. And so enjoy you on Blab. And good to meet you, Chef Michael. Ron,
yes,
as
sir.
always, good to see you again.
See you later today, Tony.
All right, take care.
Well, that was great. And one thing I tell people about our recipes too is that a lot of them are easily adapted. I do shows with 2 vegans, and actually on Wednesday when I do my show, one is before me and one is after me. Now they're non-judgmental vegans, and it seems like a lot of the newer trend of vegans aren't the ones that want to burn a cross on your lawn when you mention meat. I love them both, and but we talked about you can simply add meat into the vegan dish, or you can put tofu in instead of the protein, or another workaround. So. Keep an open mind when you look at food. Food is an enjoyable, wonderful thing.
Right.
Hi, Nina.
Hi, nice to be with you. And it's the first time I see Michael. I'm very glad.
Hi, Nina.
I have a question. When you have the technology not working and you are cooking at the same time, what's the first thing you are saving? Did it happen any time for you?
I have actually I have lost one of the 2 computers. One of the good things about having 2 going is generally both won't fail at the same time.
Right.
So I've had one fail. So then it's just a matter of using the other camera or finding a workaround, because you don't always have time to go over to the computer and figure out what's wrong. The only thing, it has never really been a fail. What has happened was it's updated itself. Mm-hmm. That was when I used PCs more than the Macs. Don't do that, or I haven't seen it happen yet. It's probably going to happen.
And how do you split your time? How many time do you take care about your preparing what you do and taking care of technology?
Sometimes I spend all my time, I do it in spurts. Like, I don't worry about technology too much until something happens that makes me worry about it. And then it's usually flips over to like 80% technology and 20% food. And then it goes back to maybe 10% technology and 90% food. So I only deal with technology when I have to. I'm not really that technology. I'm not technical. You know, I really am not. I just play it on TV, but I don't really. You know, I will tell you what has saved me more times than not is the fact that I started on Google+. I am proud of it. They are not dead, folks. They're still in there. They're just changing, constantly changing what they do. But I had everything that could humanly possibly happen on Hangouts happen to me. Sometimes all in the same day.
Yep.
Wow. So you get that. Take a deep breath and you just move forward. You know, I've had like there's 30 seconds before the show starts, and sometimes after the show's supposed to start, but the show still goes on. Even if it's 15 minutes late, it still goes on. I had a football coach that used to tell me to endeavor to persevere. You know, and I had to look up both words when he told me, and I went, and I was like, yeah, okay. Endeavor to persevere. So that's what I say now too, is endeavor to persevere.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned G+. I met you there for the first time, and I'm now doing Google+ collections for business that people can hire me for. My name is Nina. I'm from Bulgaria, Sofia. And I'm also glad that you mentioned collections that are even more famous than you are. So this is proving I'm on the right way.
Yeah, you have won awards for your collections.
Just as a conceptual thing, I think it brings people for the point of interest they have, like learning your recipes, learning the essence of what you are most skilled.
Okay. Well, I probably get 200-300 notifications a day on Google+, all around my collection, all because of my collections.
Good.
It dropped to almost nothing, and then I started using collections, and it's old posts. I mean, my traffic on my website has increased steadily, and you know, it's what it is people don't understand about Google+. Besides the fact that people are watching your collections, it is validating you as a content creator.
Yes.
Every time they plus it, they share it, they comment on it. You're getting another validation as a content creator, so your content is going to show up more in search because of that.
Thank you for this. Thank you. And I'll be happy to be together with you again. And I'm very glad we're finally on one screen.
Absolutely.
We've been engaged with Michael a lot, and I thank you, Michael, for supporting us from the beginning.
Anytime.
And see you again. Bye.
Bye-bye, Nina.
Take care. Have a great day.
Does any of our guests want to stop in and say hello? If you have a question for either Chef Michael or Chef Dennis, that's why we're here. You can jump in the seat if you would like to.
I always say that in my cooking shows, and almost no one ever wants to come in. And sometimes I feel that chefs intimidate them, and I don't know why.
Well, it's not necessarily that chefs intimidate them. They don't jump in for me either. I don't know if I scare them off or whatever. It's just I think they're just camera shy, and until they get on and do it, and then they realize, hey, well, this isn't so bad. nobody's going to jump out and bite you. You know.
No.
Stan, you want to come in here? I don't know if we have anything more that we want to go over. I don't want to be the traffic cop today because we have two good guests on, and if anybody wants to do any more, they ask any questions, please ask. Now is the time when you have these guys in front of you. It's the time to ask and get the answers.
I will mention that if anyone needs help, all they have to do is reach out to me, send me an email or send me a message, and if I can help point you in the right direction. Generally, I will want you to jump on some kind of a chat with me just because it's faster, and emails take forever going back and forth. So it's a lot easier to do a quick appear.in chat or a Google Hangout chat and go over what you need to do. But I also do consulting. So if you want to hire me for something, I do consulting too. And I'll be happy to help you with businesses set up.
Chef, you're also traveling around. You do a lot of visiting bed and breakfasts and different events. And when you do that, getting back to what we're talking about, how you use Blab and things, do they always have a good Wi-Fi connection? And how do you overcome some of those problems when you're on location?
They do not. And part of what I'm moving towards with changing how I do mobile is because of that. I get a really good mobile connection most of the time on my phone, but in Florida, as I'm sure in a lot of the country, you can take 10 steps in one direction and you're screwed. You might have had 5 bars that were blowing up your phone and you walk that way and you got no signal. So when that happens, and I have stopped fighting it, because honestly, let's get honest here about some of the shows on the road that I do, is no one watches them live. It all comes after the fact. Okay. You want to see it after the fact. So at this point, I have actually gone to just recording them on iMovie on my Mac, because I haven't figured out how to hook the camera and the microphone into it yet. So I'm just using the Mac apparatus to do the interview with. I'm hoping to change that. And I think, like I said, I've got that workaround I'm working on. But I'll just record them and upload them later. And sometimes it's better not to fight it, not to aggravate yourself so much, to know when to do what you can mobile and when not to do mobile. Generally, if you're in a place, a business that has a strong enough Wi-Fi, you can get around it and do it. And I always travel with my laptop to do my mobile stuff. So it's like I'm just setting up at home when I do it, when I'm out. Give me a table, microphone, the camera, the laptop's going on. I get my phone out, hook it up as a hotspot, because the phone seems to work better as a hotspot than my hotspot does, which I haven't had that with Verizon. Why that happens. But that's just what you have to address, and you have to be flexible, and you have to not let it eat you up.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, I'm going to put a link here to learnblab.com for, I believe it was Jonah McCollum. Is that if you go there and register, when you register and get access to the stuff, all of the presentations are actually there in presentation style. You can click and find and get a walkthrough without having to actually run or get into a Blab. And then I want to thank Chef Dennis and Chef Michael for being here. And I'm going to get out so that anything that the police guy over here up on the top right-hand side or left-hand side for me can do what he does. But before we do, I was going to say one other thing about the keyboard is that you use a high-tech, apparatus for your microphone. I think we all have that microphone, by the way. Mm-hmm. But I use the same thing for my keyboard because I'm on a glass desk. And so anything that can keep that sound down when you're typing on it is really, really good. And then I'm going to get out, and I want to hear when your show is on Wednesday, and I want to hear anything you got going on, Chef Michael. And then peace, love, and understanding. I will see y'all on the next show.
Thanks, Stan.
Thank you. Well, one thing, too, before we get into that was people asked about monetizing. All right. When I shoot these videos, if you're working with a small business, and I do a lot of barter because I like to travel and stay places for free and eat for free. So I like to return something to the people that are taking care of me. And what I do is I do a blog post, which I monetize through ads, but I'll record the video and then I'll offer it to them to repurpose. Now you can take this half hour, 15-minute to an hour interview that I shoot and edit it and cut out chunks and let whoever you're doing the video about repurpose it on their website, which then is good for them and it's good for you. So that's something to think about on how to monetize what you're doing with these blabs.
That's interesting. Good point. Good point. So what while we're talking to you, Chef Dennis, what do you got coming up this week, and when and where?
Well, every Wednesday we have Around the Kitchen Table, and it starts at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and Renee Bowdy is on first with her vegan style cooking. I think we're doing an oatmeal bar this week, and she shows more of how a family can set up, because she's feeding 3 kids, her husband and herself. So she works around more family type, easy to prepare, or how to make things more fun for kids, because kids are hard.
She's very impressive.
She's a great lady.
Yes, she is.
And then I'm on at 12:05 with my co-host, the originator of Around the Kitchen Table. That was her name she came up with. And we are on at 12:05, and I am making smoky chicken with roasted Brussels sprouts, and I forget what else. I have to go back and check the recipe. And then at 1:15, I have my favorite vegan pastry chef, Christine Thomas, coming on. And it's National Cafe au Lait Day. So she's doing coffee and donuts on her show. And she makes a lot of raw desserts, but then she does bake as well. So her emphasis is desserts and vegan.
Chef Michael, what do you got coming up?
I am actually doing nothing online, but I have a lot of things happening here in Indianapolis. I have Pacers trying to get themselves into the playoff, which probably won't happen. And currently I have trade shows happening here at the Convention Center in Indianapolis. But other than that, my online presence is simply for social awareness. I am not promoting myself. I am not trying to gather attention. I am actually just conducting myself in a way to build social awareness and consciousness. And I support Chef Dennis Lilly every bit of what he does. It's a quality effort and a quality thing, and I really appreciate it. And the chefs that are aligned with Chef Dennis are really quality people. They put quality presentations together and quality representations together that drew me in from the very beginning, and something that I'm very proud to be a part of. Other than that, I'm just going day to day. I got school and I got work. That's about it.
Well, thank you for stopping by. Appreciate
Anytime.
it. Chef Dennis, I will be in touch with you so that we can have our first meetup in real life.
Sounds
and we'll do that coming up, and looking forward to it.
Sounds great. All right, I'll see you all later. Have a wonderful day.
I'm going to stop the recording.